When I was 13 years old, I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender for the very first time. And one of the characters that left the greatest impression on me was Azula. She was strong, captivating, and just an overall badass, which would be what my younger self would say. But it was one scene that I remember giving me chills. And yes, it's the exact same one that you're thinking of right now. When I first saw this, my thoughts were, wow, this girl is crazy. And I'm bringing this up because I finished rewatching Avatar for the I don't know how many time it's been, and my reaction wasn't the same. And obviously that's due to change, me seeing it at 13 years old compared to 20 years old that I am now. There's obviously some growth and maturity, so things aren't going to be interpreted the same way. But the way I interpreted Azula's character before is completely different than I do now. And when I looked at this scene recently, I thought, wow, this is so sad. It had me thinking about Azula and just how tragic her character arc truly is. One thing that I don't think many people remember is that Azula is only 14 years old. This is a teenager who displayed many traits that weren't healthy for any person's mind. But before we start looking at those things, we have to look back at where it all started. Family. Some may dismiss it as being just another set of people, but that's a lie that they are trying to convince themselves of. Family is the biggest contributor to who you become during your adolescent stages. The involvement a father or mother plays in the life of their child will be evident through their behavior and actions. We can look at Azula and see how she was impacted during her upbringing because of this. Azula's mother, Ursa, never had the closest relationship with her. Instead, it was her brother Zuko who was the recipient of their mother's affection. Not saying that Ursa didn't love Azula, but the love that Azula needed at that stage of her life as a child wasn't being fulfilled from her mother. Meanwhile, her father would shower her with praise and attention, but for things that a child shouldn't have been doing in the first place. Sparring, training, displaying her physical prowess, and her gifts of being an amazing firebender brought joy to her father Ozai. This is where we see the first domino fall. The attention and validation that Azula needed were coming mainly from her father. However, this was only due to Ozai fueling his agenda and simply manipulating Azula into becoming something he needed to fulfill his plans. The feelings, emotions, and well-being of his own daughter didn't matter compared to his motives of world domination. Now, if we compare this with Zuko and Ursa, it's the complete opposite. Every time Zuko would mess up and feel like a failure, his mother was there to comfort and provide him that validation that he is more than capable of doing such a task. Azula as a child noticed this and made it an emphasis to be her father's favorite. This fueled a competitive rivalry between her and her brother, but it wasn't in a healthy way. Azula looked at power and strength as a way to acquire the attention and validation that she was so desperate for. A lot of people would use the term mommy issues in a situation like this, but that would definitely apply. She viewed Zuko as a blockade to receiving all of her father's love, which fueled her desire to take him down and be the perfect child. But there was also hatred stored inside of Azula towards Zuko. She looked at Zuko as a remembrance of their mother. The lasting legacy of the mother she needed in her life so greatly was through Zuko, and that created a form of hatred that we see develop stronger and stronger throughout the series. All of this only intensified her loyalty to her father. We see these traits displayed as a child develop and grow into greater and larger parts of Azula as a person. Due to her father raising her to be a child fixated on the wavelength of war and intimidation, her ability to fit in with others her age was skewered. Her relationships with her friends were never genuine, more so her using fear to force them to do what she wanted them to do. This led Azula to never have real camaraderie or anyone to fall back on as a support system. People were always on edge of making sure she was happy instead of being a good friend. The toll this takes on a young person to not have anyone to talk to or count on is tremendous. It instills this indirect feeling that it is you versus the world. We can look at when Azula went to see Ty Lee. Azula took Ty Lee out of the circus, which was a place that she loved, and even told Azula that she loved. Yet that was disregarded, and Ty Lee's so-called friend forced her to join her for the motive she had in store. Does that sound a bit familiar? Treating people this way can only last so long before they can't handle it anymore, which May and Ty Lee couldn't, betraying Azula at the Boiling Rock. But what was Azula supposed to do? She didn't know better. Her mind was programmed into thinking that this was right, and because it worked for so long, there was no reason to question how ethical it was. We start to see levels of narcissistic thinking boil within Azula. As the stronger she gets, the more important she feels, becoming the embodiment of Ozai and the extension of his life. However, this affected Azula's mental health tremendously. This is where she began to show signs of the early stages of developing a mental disorder, which we will get to in a bit. We can fast forward now to the day's incoming of Sozin's comet, and Ozai decided to leave Azula back as he carried out the plan that she put so much time into making. This wasn't a girl obsessed with murder, upset that she couldn't be a part of world domination. This was a girl upset that her father didn't hold her up to a level she thought she was worth. Ozai used his words to manipulate Azula once again into feeling a fake sense of love and satisfaction, being titled the new Fire Lord, getting her mind off of what was important so he can carry on with his plans. Everything was setting up for the upcoming moments. Now, I advise you to watch these episodes all again, but after this video, of course, because the mental stability of Azula was deteriorating fast during the day of her planned coronation as Fire Lord. The day that's supposed to be joyous and exciting was actually a day filled with anxiety and worry. Now, why was that? Her father wasn't there. The Fire Nation as a collective didn't show the appreciation that usually comes with an honor of something of this magnitude. She began to feel the pressure of herself versus the world more than ever before and became paranoid. Towards the Dai Li, towards any person that came in her way. Her hygiene was horrendous, as we saw her cut her hair out of frustration and anger. All of this leading to the big breaking point. Azula has a hallucination with the one person she needed most during this time. The mother whose love she was craving.
I know what you really think of me. You think I'm a monster. Even you fear me.
No, I love you, Azula. I do.
Those words were the ones that Azula hated the most, but she also loved. She knew her mother wasn't there for her to hear those words of comfort that she needed at that time, but she also hated the fact that she never had that love to begin with, and felt her world enclosing when she heard those words. Despite everything, Azula carried on with the ceremony just for her brother to come right before she was officially crowned Fire Lord to prevent it. This was the final domino to fall. Azula declared for an Agni Kai, in the worst mental state that Zuko has ever seen his sister in. The front that she was always perfect was never there anymore. While they were fighting, Azula was laughing nearly the entire time, symbolizing her ascendance into madness during the fight. The strain that her father had put her under for years was accumulating and exploded during this day. We see the end product once Azula is defeated and chained to the ground, crying in hysteria. I'm pointing all these things out because they were all early signs of schizophrenia. The paranoia, the improper hygiene, the inappropriate laughing and crying during the fight, all of these dominoes fell for her mind to reach this point. If we take a look at schizophrenia, she did carry the symptoms of schizophrenia building within a child. All of these things didn't happen overnight, but was a product of everything she experienced in her life. But I would like to look at Zuko for a moment. He was also on the trajectory of going down a dark path. Not saying he was going to develop a serious mental disorder, but he was on pace to turn out pretty bad himself. The difference between Zuko and Azula was that he had Iroh to help bring him back on track. Azula only had Ozai, which only led to her downfall. It's easy to point fingers and label someone like Azula certain things, but in the end, she was a girl who just wanted to be loved, something she was never able to truly feel. That concludes this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I love talking about Avatar, so if you guys want me to make more Avatar content, let me know in the comment section down below if there is a character you want me to talk about or make another type of character study on them. I will definitely be more than happy to do so. Let me know your thoughts on Azula, and if anything in this video changed the way you look at her now. And if you're about to rewatch it, make sure you do it and let me know how your experience goes. Like the video if you did, subscribe for more anime or content in this type of realm, and it's been your boy Nickeem, and I'll see you guys in the next one.